Folks, for those of you who don't know what these green plants are right here, these are called mayflowers. Generally, when those start coming up, you know morel mushrooms should be coming up as well. And that's exactly what we're trying to find today for y'all. We're out here in these woods trying to find some morel mushrooms. We got some real thick stuff to look around. What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of M.D.G. Outdoors. So today is April the 11th, Saturday. This is mainly just a channel update about what went down a couple weeks ago at the crappie fishing tournament at Taylorsville, and we also went on one more fishing trip after that tournament, and it was just at a local farm pond or small lake, whatever you want to call it. And after that, I went on a morel mushroom hunt. Things have been really slow for me to starting out this year. The crappie tournament at Taylorsville, we caught our 5. That's all we needed to weigh in at the tournament. Unfortunately, the 5 we had weren't big enough to get us into the money. I think we missed that spot by one place because we came in 6th, and they only paid out the top 5, and we only missed it by 0.25 ounces. It was really close, but we still had a good time, won some door prizes, ate some free food, and we'll be going back to that one for sure this fall. And I'll try to let everybody know when that's going on in case some of y'all want to come out and fish. But mainly what I wanted to talk about, so we've had a lot of rain in Kentucky. Everything's flooded. I think I looked on one of the group forums about Taylorsville Lake, and somebody said it was still up, this was like 3 days ago, said the lake was still up like 30 feet, something crazy. So, I was thinking about maybe trying to do some bank fishing, like around some of the parking lots and boat ramp areas and stuff, but it's just going to be up too high. We were going to try to squeeze in a little video today before we go to this basketball tournament, but it's just not in the cards. This flooding has just messed everything up, and I'm afraid it has hit right at the crucial moment when the crappie are spawning and up shallow on the banks, nested and all that. And from what I'm hearing, it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks for these lakes get back to normal pool. So by then, I'd say the crappie spawn may be over with, but we're going to go at the earliest chance we get and try to get in on the tail end of that spawn action. It may work out, it may not. But like I was telling y'all, I went on a morel mushroom hunt, and I'm going to play that for you at the end of this video. Things didn't really pan out the best on that neither. We did find some, but kind of like how I was explaining in the video, I think it's a little early. I don't think they're up good yet. I don't think the weather has been quite warm enough just yet, but we found a few, so we're going to go back and try that again, hopefully within the next week or two, and try to find some, a good mess of them. But we ended up fishing a local pond here close to the house, and it's not a little bitty pond. It's a big pond. I mean, some would consider it a small lake, and it's just one of those locations that I don't film out of respect for the landowner and all that. There was only one bait that we could catch fish off of. And I have become a firm believer in this bait. I've seen people catching them on YouTube, big magnum crappies and bass. You know, it catches all different size bass from one end of the spectrum to the other. But this little mooch minnow right here by Crush City, and I put it on a crappie, just a 1/16 of an ounce white crappie jig hook. And because I knew, you know, I've seen people catch magnum crappies on YouTube with this. All your MLF anglers, you know, and stuff on their private YouTube channels. I knew it catched magnum crappies, but I knew it also caught bass when conditions were really tough. And that's what we ended up catching. We ended up catching about 7 or 8, or I ended up catching about 7 or 8 bass. And then my son, I think he caught 1 or 2 off of it. So altogether, I think we caught about 10 bass, but they were all dinks, you know, 8, 10, 12 inches long. We couldn't get no big ones off of it, and we didn't get any crappie off of it. But, you know, I have to admit, I'm a believer in the mooch minnow now, and I'm ready to go back and restock in them, because I only bought 2 colors when they first come out, so they didn't have many to choose from. They didn't have any real natural shad patterns. They had green pumpkin, pearl white, maybe black and blue, but I just went with the basic green pumpkin and pearl white and called it good. We didn't catch any on the green pumpkin, just the pearl white. But I'm gonna go back now that I know, you know, got a little bit of confidence built up with them. I'm gonna go back and get some other colors and stock up on those, because I feel like that is a very, very good blend of finesse / power fishing. I mean, usually when you think finesse, you slow down and you downsize and you know, but when you power fish, you're covering water real fast. So it gives you the ability to do both, you know, downsizing to a smaller, finessier action that the bait that itself puts off. But, you know, at the same time, you're still covering water. You're throwing it out there and winding it back in, which is much, much faster than, say, throwing a shaky head or a wacky rig or something like that. It's just a great, great search tool when conditions are tough and you just can't get a bite. And that was the case for us over there. We didn't have a whole lot of time to fish because we had ball practice and all that. We only had about 1.5 hours to fish, so we had to pretty much cover as much water as possible, and that's what we did, and the mooch minnow definitely paid off. So I was in Academy Sports, actually, right before this fishing trip I'm telling you about, which I probably should have got some more mooch minnows now, but anyway, I ended up picking up a couple packs of those mayors. And if you follow certain professional anglers sponsored by Crush City, you know what I'm talking about. These are 2 of the 4-inch mayors. We got one in Tennessee shad, and then we got one in Pro Blue Red Pearl. Just both real natural colors. And then I picked up 3 packs of these. This is just a 1/4 of an ounce Strike King swim jig, and I got it in a real natural jig or natural shad pattern. Doesn't really say the name of the color, but it's just kind of like a smoke gray and silver looking color, you know, real natural. I thought it went well with those mayors, so I'm real excited about trying those out. But anyway, guys, that mooch minnow if you are a amateur, not a very experienced bass fisherman, get you some of those mooch minnows, pearl white or natural shad pattern. You know, if you're in clear water conditions, you don't have to buy the expensive bass jig hooks. I mean, it would be better if you're going after bass, obviously, but if you want to, if you're just out pan fishing, just doing some general pan fishing, trying to have a good time, get you some of those crappie jigs. Oh yeah, I'll show you what one of them looks like here. I think this is called a sickle hook. I'm not sure because it's got that weird little bend in it that's not like most common hooks. But it's just a 1/16 of an ounce jig hook, crappie jig hook. And if you're just out pan fishing, like let's say you decide to go on a pan fishing trip for bluegill or even crappie, you know, and you're taking your red worms and your crickets and your Popeye jigs and all that stuff, you know, have you a little setup like this right here. This is a Shimano SLX, and I've got it on a Shimano, I can't even pronounce what that is, Sojourn, but it's a real light, it's a medium action rod. Medium action with a fast tip, but it's a glass rod. It's not a graphite rod, so it's real parabolic. You know, it's real parabolic to about halfway down, and then when you get about halfway down to about right here, that's when you start getting that backbone in there. So you can take that little 1/16 of an ounce crappie jig and throw it out there just fine. You know, you don't want a jigging rod. This is my trapping rod, you know, what I typically throw a rattle trap on. Of course, I've also been known to throw some lighter, hard plastic jerk baits. But I mean, you could put a fluke on here, probably, weightless fluke, and probably cast it. But that little 1/16 of an ounce jig head's no problem at all with that mooch minnow on there. And I would much rather, if I'm covering water and using this bait as a search tool, I'm gonna, instead of a spinning reel where you're constantly having to flip that bell, I would much rather use the bait caster. Got 10-pound test P-line on here, and it's just smooth as a kitten. No trouble at all casting it. And I think this is just a 6.6. Yeah, this is a 6.6 rod. Love this little rod. Caught a lot of fish on this rod. But yeah, so that's pretty much an update of where we're at. We're going to be going on the water very soon, so stay tuned. And if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. It'd help me out a lot. We're going to try to get something going here soon. Now, folks, I can't confirm 100%, but if I was a betting man, I would say these are some poisonous mushrooms right here. I noticed them from a long ways off. This is kind of on a hillside above me, probably about 20 feet above me. And I could see them just as plain as day. They're not real big, but they're some kind of a weird little mushroom that I can't identify. But if I was a betting man, I'd say they're probably poisonous. But there's not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that these morels ain't up. That's a good sign, seeing other mushrooms. It means the soil temperature, the air temperature, and all that stuff's where it needs to be, I would think. Well, folks, we just found an unexpected surprise. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see him right above my finger right there, big yellow one. It's a pretty good size one too. I wasn't expecting to see no yellow ones. I was expecting to find black ones. But that just goes to show you to expect the unexpected, I guess. So folks, that's a pretty good size white or yellow morel mushroom, whatever color you want to call that. And I haven't picked it yet because it stands out. Those yellow ones stand out a little better than the black ones, and I'm not going to lose it, but I've just kind of squatted down on the ground here and I'm just looking around, because usually where there's one, there's more. Just like that, I almost stepped on that one and destroyed it. Almost. Not a bad one. Not bad at all. And if you'll notice, I took my knife and I cut and left that root system in the ground. I did that for a reason. Hopefully it may promote growth next year. You just never know. But folks, this is basically a hillside, and it's what I call a north-facing slope. And on these north-facing slopes, you're going to see a lot of trees that have got moss on them, just like that one right there. If you can find you an big old tree, I think that's an oak. Not really sure, but it's the right kind of tree because it's got moss growing all over it, and it's been down for several years. So I'll probably stay right here and look under all those little broken up logs and branches, getting under there, going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. I may stay right here on this one tree for 20 minutes, just squatting down, looking around, taking my walking stick and moving leaves around. You need a good walking stick. See folks, moss on the trees is a good sign, but when you got moss on the ground, you know, down in these dark, deep hollers where it stays cool and moist, these are the kind of areas you want to find. I mean, if you look at the base of this tree here, the base of that tree, all that green, all that moss on top of the soil, I think those are high percentage spots. And we've actually got one on the ground over here. I don't know if you can see a little dark speck. It's about right in there, but that's a black one. Wasn't expecting to see that. I was about to give up and move to another location. Right there it is, guys. We had to take the long way around and avoid the briars. This is one of our spots that we've always called the honey hole. And by all rights, we should find some more like that. Not a bad one.